History doesn't end when empires fall. It explains why they stop working long before they collapse. The most dangerous moment for an empire is not rebellion and not invasion. It's when the system still functions but belief is gone. People obey, but only because they must. They pay taxes, but feel cheated. They follow laws, but trust none of them. At that stage, power still exists, but legitimacy does not. And once legitimacy is gone, collapse is no longer a question of if, only when. This is the part of history most textbooks skip. When people imagine the fall of an empire, they imagine fire, armies at the gates, cities burning, a single dramatic moment where everything ends. But that image is misleading. Empires rarely collapse at the moment of violence. Violence arrives later. By the time armies invade, the system is already hollow, trust is already broken, unity is already gone, belief is already dead. What collapses first is not buildings or borders, it is meaning. Every long-lasting empire enters a silent phase. From the outside, everything still looks normal. Taxes are collected, officials give orders, institutions still exist. But inside, something critical has changed. People no longer believe the system represents them. Obedience becomes mechanical, not moral. Laws are followed, but only to avoid punishment, not because they are seen as just. At this stage, an empire still looks powerful, but it is already unstable. The clearest example of this process is the Roman Empire. Rome did not collapse because it lacked soldiers. It collapsed after something far more dangerous happened. Roman institutions continued to exist, but they no longer commanded respect. Taxes increased, but citizens felt exploited, not protected. Laws multiplied, but enforcement became selective and corrupt. Political offices still existed, but they were seen as tools for personal gain, not public service. Rome still had power, but it no longer had legitimacy. Legitimacy is the invisible agreement between rulers and the ruled. It is the belief that the system is worth supporting, even when it is imperfect. When legitimacy disappears, people stop asking, "Is this right?" and start asking, "How do I survive this?" Soldiers fight for pay, not loyalty. Officials enforce rules they do not respect. Citizens follow laws they quietly resent. The empire does not collapse immediately, it rots. Once belief is gone, every crisis becomes fatal. Economic stress exposes corruption. Military pressure reveals disloyalty. Political conflict accelerates fragmentation. At that point, collapse no longer requires a powerful enemy, it only requires time. By the time Rome faced its final blows, the empire was already empty on the inside. The most important lesson of ancient history is not how empires fall. It is how long they continue existing after they stop believing in themselves. This pattern did not disappear with Rome. History remembers it even when people forget. If you want history explained deeply, not memorized, subscribe to this channel. Like this video if it made you think, share it with someone who loves history, and drop a comment below. Which ancient empire should we analyze next? If you want to understand how this process really ends, watch the next video on this channel from start to finish.